I read your plank. I'm on your side. I listened to you on Mark Levin a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
I voted for you in the primary.
Thank you.
Just donated to you last week, so I'm on your side. A couple of questions I have is, I was reading somewhere, and I can't remember the exact statistic, but there's 300,000 regulations that exist in the government. And
They come with a criminal penalty.
right, and there's, we just saw during the Gulf oil spill, there were 6 or 7 bureaucracies that couldn't talk to each other, and so that was the big, so I guess the thing I ask of you is when you go up there, because I have a good feeling you're gonna win, I'm voting for you. The question I have is there a way that you can either have you or a staffer or somebody that says, here's the crap that because you don't know all this stuff, none of us. If you can somehow, the government doesn't know. If there's somehow, when after you get yourself settled in, you take an action, start saying, here's some crazy stuff that I found, and we're going to try to look something that can get us motivated to call other people and say, look at this garbage, call somebody.
Yes.
Because it's take a spotlight and shine it into that smallness.
The answer is yes. Eric Cantor has a,
right.
I believe it's ucut.org. Yep. We need to do more things and more things similar to that. And especially like you talked about, like the bureaucracies. You're right, it's an embarrassment. We can't stop tripping on ourselves.
Last comment is there's a guy up in New York who's doing really well. Mark Levin mentioned him, so I looked into his stuff. He's really sharp too. And he said that he's going to propose something if he gets elected that requires Congress to publish what they spent every 6 months, on a website to the American people, so we can see what everybody has spent and how much has been wasted. I was wondering if you'll support that if it comes about.
So I'd be up for that. I love it.
Yeah, I thought it was a great idea.
I love it.
To bring it up.
See, when we do things like that, then we can avoid things like Gabrielle Giffords flying her spouse to Copenhagen first class and then writing us a reimbursement check for $400.
Right. I mean, that's
no, but she's a fiscal conservative. I promise. Yeah. And hey, if Congress doesn't work out, perhaps travel agency.
When Congress passes something, publishes something, is it possible to put it in language we can understand?
Well, sure, it's possible, but that's the last thing they want. No, it is. They don't understand it. The worst parts about things like the health care bill, and I've read it. It's not. I'm the only one of 2 people in this race who've read the bill. The other person has not. The worst parts are not what's in it; it's what's not in it. It's all the vague things, all the legal speak. It's not an accident they do that. They pack a 2,000-page bill out there that really doesn't say much of anything at all, so they can hand it to the bureaucracies that they create. And then now the power just went from Gabrielle Giffords, from Nancy Pelosi, into some unnamed, unelected bureaucrat who you'll never meet, who will dictate what that interpretation is. That's what the left does. They're crafty. Look, they know how to take power. We got to know how to take it back. And that in the courts.
There was only 10 pages of SB 1070. There was a whole string of people who came out against it, and they haven't even read the 10 pages.
I'm not entirely convinced they all know how to read.
I think our job #1 here is getting you elected, and all these others are going to pass.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to go back to the ads, because I think it's very important that you clarify some of the misconceptions that are out there. I'm looking at a letter from the editor today, and they are hung up on this 23% national tax that you're going to impose. So I think the tax issue is fairly complex. I heard you say the 23%, and that's a scary number. So is there some way in your ad you can simplify that and take the fear factor out of it? Because I think that's important.
Sure, and I think I need to address this as well. I've talked about the fair tax, and I cleared up the lie that she's telling about that. Here's the problem, and this is what she's banking on. She has $2 million and we do not. So she's banking on being able to run an ad saying, I kill puppies for the next month, and having enough people believe it so they don't vote at the polls. Right. And that's what we have to worry about. The truth is we have to get our message out. We're not going to spend, we need you to tell people the truth. That is the truth of the matter. We need you to tell them. Because we have limited resources. We have enough, but they're limited. We can't spend every dime we have rebutting every lie she tells. We have to get our message out and tell people what we're going to do and what she has done. Gabrielle Giffords is going to lie through her teeth for the next month, like she's already done. She's going to do anything to cling to power. You have to tell people. And I know that stinks, but it's on all of us. And that is the truth. We're going to do what we can. But again,
could you explain the 23%?
Sure.
It's scary.
like
Sure.
she said.
Sure.
How do you go, what are you recommending?
What she's talking about is the fair tax, and I'll get to that in a second. I am a flat tax guy. I've always said this, I'm a 10% flat tax, is what I believe every American should pay, that's it. I also said I would support the fair tax, as I said in that video, and what it is, it eliminates every single federal tax, every one of them. It even eliminates the IRS, just takes it completely out, and it replaces it with a 23% consumption tax, which actually does not raise the cost of goods and services 1 cent, because the cost of goods and services you're currently paying, you already pay about 23% built into it, because of the taxes that come on that loaf of bread. So the cost of everything doesn't go up at all. It just simplifies the tax code. And that's why it's called the fair tax. It simplifies it, and everybody can afford it.
Would it be a sales tax from zero, or is there a 10,000, 20,000 income level before it kicks in?
There's a prebate up to the federal poverty level with the fair tax. That's how they work. Prebate. They write you the check up to the federal poverty level, so it's not a tax on the poor, which she's lying about as well. I'm not convinced she's read that either. I don't know if she's read anything really. But that's the truth. So the 23% consumption tax is a complete lie. It literally is a complete lie. It's shocking. And I know it's not widespread. It's shocking that anybody would believe that I'm the tax raiser in this race. That's why it's hard to get traction with that. She's lying. And they say not to use that word, all deceiving or something. No. Why do we have to hide from that anymore? She's saying something that's not true and she knows it's not true. She's lying. That's
You're much too young to know about this. In 1961, the then President Kennedy imposed a 3% flat tax and was beat to hell in Congress. So how can you get these clowns?
Again, I'm not going to with the clowns we get in there now. We need better clowns. I'm not running for king of the world or anything else, you know.
Second question, if the 3% was enough to run the federal government in 1961, and given inflation, how does 3% turn into 23%?
Whoa, hold on. I am a 10% flat tax guy. That 23% is the fair tax, which I said they are separate things.
Did you say 3%?
Well, what's happened is the federal government now is the largest landowner, creditor, debtor, insurer, employer. 17% of people work for the government right now that work. It's not 1961 is the problem. Right now, Art Laffer, the great economist Art Laffer, by the way, who just endorsed us, he said an 11% flat tax would fully fund the government right now. 11%.
Well, this is bloated government now.
That's right. That's right.
In 1961, they still had the military.
That's right. It was bloated then, but now government is so much bigger. I mean, you heard the figure I said earlier. It's the truth. We've added 400,000 federal employees in the last year and a half alone. It's just growing at such a rapid pace that, yeah, 3% would not work. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to pay 3% in taxes, but it just wouldn't work right now.
I just want to see if I understand what you're talking about this tax thing.
Yes, ma'am.
You're saying a 10% flat tax. Is that on everybody's income, all corporate income, just individual?
Just individual income.
10% tax on
That's
private
correct.
income.
That's correct.
Versus the 23% fair tax, which means nobody pays any income tax, nobody pays any gasoline taxes, none of that federal tax stuff. But whatever you buy has a 23% tax, consumption tax on
Correct.
it. And you said something about a prebate up to the study, like everybody gets a check for $12,000 and then you can go.
Well, which one do you want me to clarify? I can clarify both. All right, for what I'm for, this is what I am for. I am for a flat tax of 10% that eliminates every single other federal tax. Every single one of them. Death tax, the tax you pay on Social Security, everything, the corporate tax rate, everything, because corporations do not pay taxes. They pass those taxes on to you, and you just pay more for your bread, or your tires, or your plane, if there's anyone in there so fortunate. So they don't pay taxes. It's just a 10% tax on your income, the income you bring in, obviously above the federal poverty level. That's what we have. That is what I am for, a 10% flat tax. What I've said was, I would also support, now we are shifting gears. All right, I would also support, I think it's less doable, I think